I am Jesus. Before I begin my dissertation, I wish to acknowledge each of you in your efforts, dedications and love which is bringing forth work and ventures that are of the highest nature and intention, seeking to fulfill the will of God. You gather together with great consistency and dedication, with a desire to work together in harmony so to be channels of love and light in the world. In these dedications, in your efforts, you bring to you the high angels, the beautiful blessings of God, and messages of truth. These blessings will continue as you continue to dedicate yourselves accordingly and seek the great blessing of God's love to awaken your soul. I wish to talk about harmony today, for it is one thing that is very much missing in your world. Even in your lives, there are moments of harmony and feelings of upliftment blessed by God. But is harmony a constant in your life? Is there a sense that all is in alignment with each of you in every moment? To be in a state of harmony is a very difficult goal if you wish to have that state be a constant in your daily life. Harmony is not the true state of humanity. In fact, it is the opposite to harmony. It is disharmony. Why is this so? How is humanity created such difficulties and pain in their lives? How has humanity come to misunderstand the purpose of life? What are your priorities and objectives in life and how do they fit with the law of harmony? As I have said in my previous messages, the great momentum of human thought, paradigms of cultures and objectives is often very contrary to God's laws. God has given each individual the gift of life and the gift of free will. Humanity has grasped those gifts well. But in regard to free will, you do not really understand the consequences and power that you wield, utilizing this gift with every thought, every moment in your lives. The great mass of humanity has imposed upon this earth a powerful force that is the result of their collective free will being exercised freely in the world. That force and momentum of it is continuing to contradict God's laws of creation, God's intention and purpose for this earth. Yet, man persists in his ideas and will to create this earth in his own image, to be independent from God, to be blind to the imperatives of his laws for the world. Rather, man is almost completely engaged in establishing his own imperatives and laws governing his life. Of course, there are those who have some inkling of spirituality in the purpose of it, acknowledging potentials that exist within each individual that in most cases is ignored, misunderstood, and misinterpreted. Those who seek to be fulfilled spiritually often interpolate many ideas and projections regarding the truth of God's laws and the purpose of life and what is within them to the point where this too reflects a deep need to have the concepts of materialism expressed universally and completely within human consciousness. Since the one great truth that man understands, that of a material life, is the underpinning of the individual's perceptions and experience of life, often they neglect those more subtle realities and truth of their existence. All is focused upon establishing and exploring their perceptions and biases toward the material, seeking empowerment through the material, seeking truth through establishing laws and perceptions regarding the material, seeking to exploit through many mindful and creative ways that which is of the material world, as they perceive it, so that there may be an enhancement of the material experience, a fulfillment that comes through the gratification of the mind and the body and the senses. This is such a limited perspective of life and one that is almost universal in your world. Unfortunately, this limitation is creating great havoc and damage to your world. Even with this limited perception and perspective, humanity is starting to realize that their effects upon the material world are having their consequences. You are beginning to see how your climate is changing, how your world is creating disease and disruptions that are contrary to human will and design. Yet, very few piece together the true state of affairs that are present in your world. Many neglect to realize that every event that is of a material nature also has with it a spiritual component, for God created this duality of the universe that is both material and spiritual, existing in tandem and in harmony together. When one aspect of this harmony is disrupted, so it affects all other aspects of God's creation. As waves of disruption flow out into the material and spiritual universe, so there is often a counterbalance that is asserted in order to sustain God's intentions for harmony to exist. You are all presently experiencing this response to humanity's actions. It continues to be manifest and equally imposed in relationship to the efforts that man is exerting upon the earth. Certainly this law is understood even in the material sense of action and reaction that is a constant in the universe. So, every action has its consequences and every effort has a response. Unfortunately, the actions that are evident and powerful within the human condition at this time are mostly of the negative and are contrary to God's laws. Not because humanity insists upon this or is aware of it, but rather, it is the result of the ignorance and neglect of humanity to come to realize the true nature of life both materially and spiritually, the true reality of God's creation. This awareness slips beyond consciousness, because humanity for the most part is so readily engaged in the material world, completely absorbed with the experiences and outcomes of human endeavor that it has no idea or desire to look for something beyond this. There is within many a sense of contentment in regard to the gratification of their material desires and needs. It is human nature to adopt and embrace that which gratifies, that which is easy, that which does not challenge. So, they continue in their habits and ways of being in the world with such dedication, such focus of the mind that few truly venture beyond this state of ease and contentment. Yet, this condition is causing great disharmony in the world, for harmony is that which is in alignment, in sync with God's creation and laws of creation. This is such a simple concept that is so readily ignored by humanity. Humanity has all the faculties and resources available to each individual to understand these laws readily, for God's laws are not difficult to understand. God's laws are readily available to be taught and understood by each individual, provided they are willing to seek for them and to come to truly understand them from the perceptions deep within. For the soul, even that soul which is undeveloped by divine love, has the capacity to understand the simple laws of God's creation. Yet few venture beyond the surface condition of thought that is so prevalent in your world. Few venture beyond their engagement with the material. Great numbers are engaged thusly because they are motivated by fear, the fear of not having enough, not surviving in the material world in a way that is materially gratifying or even of necessity. Because of the great inequities in your world, many are in a deep state of deprivation, some materially and many spiritually. Thus, humanity continues to evoke a great disharmony in the world by their lack of understanding, by their lack of love, by their lack of acknowledgement of their true selves. As I have stated, within the laws of cause and effect there is a great response to the actions of humanity that has the intention of quelling the power and exertion of human effort in the world. The law of balance must come into play to bring all back to harmony, therefore, this is why earth changes are coming to your planet, and to some degree, are already in play. God is engaging all the forces of His universe to impose harmony. Though He cannot contradict free will in humanity, He can contradict the effects of human endeavor in order to bring greater harmony. God's efforts are manifesting in many different ways. There is a powerful exertion of His will in the material aspects in your world at this time. God is sending many blessings, energies, elements, and aspects of His soul and of His creation, including the consciousness of the earth, directed toward this necessity of neutralizing the contrary efforts of men. So, these forces will increase in intensity and will be engaged in every level of reality that is of God's creation, both the spiritual and the material, and all that which is unseen and all that which is seen. You have been warned of this. You have been shown this in visions. Many of you have come to accept and understand that this correction is needed in order to nurture and establish balance in the world, for all things in God's universe are sustained by balance and the equilibrium manifest in love. These forces are working together to ensure the vitality, the creative movement and change that must come in a universe that is alive and is enlivened by God's touch. The earth is no different from any other place in the universe. What is unique, and also a great blessing in our part of the universe, is the great diversity of life and the presence of those beings, whom you are, who possess a soul. Yes, there are individuals similar to yourself who inhabit other parts of God's universe. But in this small corner, you are the miracles, the wonderment that is of God's creation and intention. He has allowed humanity to move and act within the world at their own volition, has given humanity great depth and breadth of movement and action in the world. This too is a reflection of His love for humanity, allowing such a gift, such freedom to be in this world, this material world. In God's wisdom, this is given for a purpose, and that is to allow humanity to explore and to choose within that which is all that they are created of, and all that the universe is created of. That understanding of both must come when balance is struck within the individual. The balance of soul consciousness and material consciousness. When these two forces within the individual come together, there is a great empowerment of the potentials and gifts within the individual. As you well know, with the empowerment of the soul with divine love, this merging of the two aspects of one's consciousness is complete and more diverse and wondrous in its nature. The nature of the individual expands. Its potentials multiply exponentially with the power of God's touch, His love within that individual igniting the transformational process, the cleansing and expanding the soul in light and love. This is the great antidote to the imbalance on the earth, for when humanity grasps the truth, that they can evolve and transform into something different from what they are today and are willing to travel this road, true change and true direction and momentum toward harmony will be established. Unfortunately, the vast majority of humanity is far from this understanding and cannot conceive of a future such as this. They cannot truly understand themselves, for they are trapped within the material machinations of the mind, and all that it projects, imagines and believes is true. They are trapped within the reality of their own creation, the unfortunate outcome of the gift of free will, and all that which God has gifted humanity. The force of human will is causing great damage and darkness to the world, this world of God's creation. God has chosen at this time to regain the world, bringing it back to what is in harmony with His will and intention for it, for God's will is greater than any human will. Even the collective will of humanity is minuscule in comparison to God's will. God has put His focus upon this world, a world that cries out, a world in great imbalance and disharmony. As I have stated, there are great forces involved in correcting this imbalance. We wish to enlist all those on the earth plane who are willing to be engaged in God's great plan to bring harmony to the world. Those who are willing to release their hold, this dedication toward human reality in materialism that is so predominant in the minds of all those who dwell on earth, and find liberation from it, great blessings of love and upliftment, of light, of healing, of joy and truth are readily available to every human being. Though they may not find this in books and words and other ways of teaching, God is making it possible for them to understand this within their own consciousness, their own soul, so that they may have the experience of the touch of God, which has always been and always will be a personal one. They will come to truly know another part of themselves that they did not truly know existed. They will come to know harmony within themselves, to truly live within the laws of harmony and be an example of harmony. Despite the forces of the world, which are great, the forces of God are greater and will be prevalent and powerful upon the earth. Harmony must come. Harmony comes with all that functions and acts within the parameters of God's workings and laws. Harmony is a constant in the universe. Only those beings with free will can step outside of this constant. In doing so, difficult lessons and consequences are learned and experienced. It is hoped that with the journey that humanity is taking at this time, these lessons will be truly learned and that humanity will choose to move toward light and harmony. To see the folly of their ways, understanding that they cannot truly create their own reality without taking into consideration and integrating God's reality. Humanity is capable of understanding this, perceiving it, and acting upon it. But man is willful and stubborn, obstinate in their will, grasping tightly their plans, objectives and motivations which gratify the material. It is for you, beloved souls, to teach those who are willing to listen. The great joys, the great adventure that is discovering the soul, discovering the other half of man so they may truly live a life fulfilled, within a life that engenders harmony and peace, for peace comes with harmony. Just as joy comes with love, harmony brings peace where all is calm and flows within the will of God. This does not imply that things become static. Rather, the flow of change within God's universe is in harmony with His laws, for change is a constant. Change must come to all aspects of God's creation, for it continues to live and flow within the evolutionary direction that God intends, and this evolutionary flow is directed toward greater harmony in the universe. When humanity engages within this flow, subscribes to it, they too will change. They too will find greater harmony and humanity will evolve in harmony with God's intentions. How else is peace accomplished in your world, beloveds, but with a sense within each individual that they are truly in alignment with God, with their own true selves and with the purpose of life, so that love becomes the cornerstone of all of these things. The expression and expansion of love becomes the great intention and focus in one's life when this integration comes to the individual, where they truly understand who they are and truly express this in all the ways that they can in their lives. Harmony and peace are destined to be in your world, beloved souls. If it were possible for humanity to truly choose this of their own volition in a conscious way, so to rise to the challenge of living in harmony, living a life reflecting love, then none of the disruptions and changes that are destined to come to this earth would be necessary. Humanity does not understand its own power, its own capacity to bring greater harmony into themselves and to all that is around them. You are beginning to understand and to see for yourselves how wonderful you truly are, how beautiful is your soul, how wondrous is life in harmony with God, how truly powerful that love can be that is within you and all around you. Because of the amount of harmony that you have brought to you in your life, because of the law of attraction and other laws of God's creation engaged accordingly, you draw more to you, more light, more harmony. It will build and you will release those conditions, thoughts and objectives that reflect the human condition and absorb and integrate those elements that are truly of God. You invoke the laws by your prayers, actions, desires and thoughts, which are in harmony with God, in harmony with creation. None of you are in complete alignment. You are learning and growing in this, practicing and expressing yourselves accordingly. You are challenged by the human condition, always. You are beginning to understand the consciousness of your soul and comparing this with the material consciousness of the mind. You are beginning to feel and have faith that the integration of these two parts of yourself is possible. Indeed, I promise you, each of you, provided you apply yourselves as you must to the truth that you have been given, will find this integration, this merging of selves, of consciousness into one harmonious expression of being. You will know this, beloveds, for you know the way toward it. You know the great element that will ensure that it happens, and that is the power of love within your soul, this blessing of God upon you. Do not neglect your prayers, for they are the powerful instrument that brings God to you and the Holy Spirit into your soul. Continue to contemplate the true meaning of harmony, so to truly understand what harmony is and how harmony feels and how it is expressed through each of you. Come to understand the uniqueness of your own self, a being that God has created and is unlike any other in the universe. God cherishes each of His children, each unique creation, and how the expression that is you, brings joy to God as He is aware of each of you individually, fully. His awareness is far deeper than your own of who you are and what you are capable of. He nurtures His children toward the expression of all that He has created, and that through the wondrous blessing of divine love, will ensure that the expression of this uniqueness, that which is you, will know no limits, will continue for all eternity within the vast flow of creation, of intention, of harmony, and of the expansion and transformation of the soul, not limited by the material, but liberated by that which is truly spiritual. My beloved brothers and sisters, you are truly wondrous creations of God. Those aspects of you that are hidden and unknown at this time will come forward with the great flow of love that you continue to desire and ask for and bring to you. As the momentum builds within you, so greater harmony will exist in your lives and your beings. Within this harmony, you will ignite greater desire that comes from the soul seeking at-one-ment with God. Fulfillment comes in this way. The merging of your two selves comes in this way, where consciousness becomes one, and oneness is with God. All is given in simplicity and harmony, grace and love. It is not a difficult journey, beloved souls, forging a relationship between you and your Creator. It is only disrupted and distracted by the material condition in which you live and the material mind which you nurture. But as you come to know your true selves and true capacity to be one in harmony with God's laws, so this challenge will lessen and you will know the liberation that I speak of, the joys of the soul awakened in its fullness and wonderment, power and grace, where love informs all that you are and all that you do. You will become the lights, the harbingers of great change that is destined for this world of yours. We will be by your side. We will walk with you always, for the forces of God, all that God intends and wills, that are directed toward this earth, shall be with you and in harmony with you. Come to truly know this, beloved souls, to accept it, and to discover what this truly means in your life. In this way, you will know greater harmony, you will know greater truth, and you will discover greater love for yourself and the world, a deep compassion for all that is not in harmony with God, and a deep knowing that harmony will come. Harmony is destined to be a part of this world to such a degree that peace will reign upon the earth and all of humanity will come to truly discover the wonderment of their own creation. May God bless you, beloved souls. May you find the harmony of the soul. May you truly know yourselves and be at peace. My love is with you. I am your brother and friend, Jesus, and I am happy to deliver another message to you, a lesson that you may apply to your life. May you be truly born again in love. God bless you, beloved souls.